What I always do is I put them all on one bus in Logic. I can put all these plugins on this bus and I deal with it as one synth. There are 5 synthesizers, of course, but together they sound as one, and I want to make them sound as one. I put like a LFO tool on here. I put an imager on here to make it a bit bigger. I put a reverb on here and some equalizing, which is really important for your leads, that you don't have a lot of low frequencies in here. That's really something you need to hear in the studio.
If you have the same melody going all the time, it can be nice to switch it up with some chords towards the end.
You can see the vocal lead are 3 layers, which I pitched separately and made one sound of. I've put them all on one bus to give them the same effects, the same reverb, the same EQ, so it sounds great in the mix. Together the vocal leads sound like this. The first vocal layer I've pitched it 3.5 Foreman down. The second one I've pitched it 12 semitones up and the Foreman 12 up. And the last layer is just the vocal from the original a cappella, but chopped up like the rest of the vocal.
What I did was in the final layer, so all of these 3 synths go through this mixer. And what I did here was I had this P controller and this reverb, and I linked those 2 together. So every time the sound plays, this plugin notices it, and because it's linked to the reverb, it's going to react to each other. So watch this wet meter of the reverb. This one, sorry. So every time the sound plays, the reverb's going to duck down, which makes it really clear, really simple. But when it stops playing, the reverb's going to kick in and just like fill up the whole space that's left there because the synth just stopped working.
Well, my secret, I don't really have a secret, but I think what makes me unique is that I tweak my sound till it sounds how I want it to sound.
Right, you take your time.
Exactly, and I think a lot of producers who are on the top, that's what makes them unique. So I think what could be a good tip is just tweak it till it sounds how you want it.
Try always having some sort of rhythm in the beginning of the track, or else people won't be able to move on the dance floor. So here we have snaps.
Too high, too deep.
For instance, in the other track, Tell Me a Lie, it had like a clock going in a double time in the background. Just something will help a lot.
What I did in the like halfway the drop, I have a bit crusher on the chords. Which I thought sounded super sick, like it's kind of like that old school crushed. Which is just automated, like I just automated the downsampling of it. Which gives that sick sound.
So yeah, I'm gonna change a bit the rhythm of those chops and then also modify the sound of them by applying some effects, and I will just show you the effects right now. So
When you go out.
So maybe I can just put Manipulator, which is a pretty nice plugin for vocals.
When you go out.
What I like to do with my bass lines, of course they change every 4 bars, every 4 beats. But if you add sounds like these, I'll just show them solo. Super weird sounds, and mostly just dubstep bank samples, made them with Citrus or with Harmor, if any of you use FL. It's pretty much you can use any synthesizer actually, and just sample the sound and stretch it, do whatever you want with it, distort it. And if you do that with every single note it's playing, you get like the whole bass line. It's the same synth, but because of those samples, you're gonna have like the feeling that every single note of the bass is like a bit different, and you always get like something cool to listen to. So if I add those to the bass line, you can actually hear is almost starting to growl, to talk, to do crazy stuff, and it's just because of these samples. So that's like a great way to fill up your basses. I receive a lot of demos that I really like, and I'm almost always like, oh, I wish they did this thing. So it's just the little bit of extra touches that like finish the track, in my opinion.
In the second half of the drop, I didn't want to add too much because the drop itself was already pretty complex, and I just didn't want to oversaturate it with a bunch of stuff. I just wanted to make it flow a little bit more with when all the hi-hats and percussions come in. So I literally just added one synth in, which plays like one note, and it's just a simple saw wave that when the note is played, this depth thing goes up here, and it like increases the amount of vibrato. So it should sound like this. As you can see, it's being automated. Now it's not going to let me play it, but you can see it goes up. And then just a bit of OTT on it because it was really getting lost and drowned in the mix. And then just a bit of tremolo, which makes it pan left to right really fast. And then some reverb, and again an EQ and a sidechain.